last day of D23. My body is so sore and tired just from walking and standing in line, but it's been nice. Today is just a little bit trickier because we had to check out of the hotel by 11 and Carl's still there, but that means I don't have the luxury of walking back before the Honda Center. The Honda Center presentation is the Disney Legends ceremony, and that is scheduled at 5, so earlier than the last 2 nights. So that does mean time in the convention is shorter. Because we won't have access to the room, that means I already have to have my Honda Center approved bag. So no backpack, no fan, no big water bottle. I have this one that I'm carrying. This is all that I can really bring, just me, myself, and I. And if I happen to buy any other items today, then I'll have to do the bag check at the convention and make sure I get it at the end of the night. So let's enjoy the last day of D23. So one of the first things that I'm gonna do is see the Avatar experience. It's like a little walkthrough. There's a little bit of a wait, but it is the last day, so hopefully it's good. it's goodbye to the convention and on our way to the final Honda Center presentation, the Disney Legends Award. I'm getting the shuttle early, it's about 3 o'clock now. I just want to be off my feet.
Who helped bring this incredible weekend together. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love you too. I love the life you've given me. I love the people that I've had the opportunity to work with. Nobody does anything in this business alone.
Tony Garrison, Mary Wolf, Ed Storm, and Mary.
I find it odd, though, to stand here alone, because no one does it by himself or herself. One doesn't work in a vacuum.
There was a buzz in that Burbank Disney office where it's rumored that they create all of us Disney kids.
This truly has been a wonderful night that only Disney can make possible. And of course, we're all here because of you, the fans. Your spirit makes us shine. These legends have all made their mark, not just on the Disney legacy, but on each and every one of us. We are so grateful to live in a world where dreams become reality. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Good night, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. It's actually been a couple of months since the D23 weekend. I'm still going to be calling it the Expo. I'm not apologizing for that, but so much has happened that I didn't get a chance to sit down and talk about my experience and my thoughts on the 2024 D23, the ultimate Disney fan event. I have only gone twice now, and this one was different than the one that I went to back in 2022. 2022 was the first D23 event that I ever went to, so everything was brand new, exciting. I didn't know what to anticipate and what to expect, and so I think going into that particular event with open eyes, it made it much more special. Now, I did still enjoy myself this year in 2024 for the D23 weekend, but it was definitely different. So I wanted to just share my thoughts and maybe some pros and cons so that if you are wanting to potentially attend one of these events, maybe it will help you decide if it's what's best for you. So I have my coffee. I am using one of the items that I purchased this year from the Walt Disney Studios store. It's this cute mug that has different icons for anything relating to Disney in the state of California. I hope that they make one for Florida and eventually I can get my hands on it. So let's get into it. I have to remember that this is here because I have a tendency to forget and it will go cold. So this year I went by myself, completely solo, to the D23 event. I was a little nervous just because I know that there are certain things that there are long lines, long queues for, and if you need to take a break to go to the restroom or get something to eat or a drink of water, then you're kind of up a creek without a paddle unless you can meet some really nice Disney fans around you and if they're willing to hold your place in line. I went by myself. I waited 3 days in the virtual queue to try to access the tickets, which I know so many people have different opinions on the virtual queues and just the different experiences and how difficult it is to get tickets for different events from Disney. I was able to get tickets, and the ticket that I purchased was the VIP or like Ultimate Disney Fan. I can't remember what it's called. Let me check the pass. I have my badge still somewhere. Got this bag for free. Well, is it really free if you paid for the ticket to the event? So did I pay for this? Let me get my badge. I brought with me the actual package and everything that came with it with me just in case there were any issues with my badge and that if it wasn't scanning, I wanted proof that yes, I do have access. I have admission, so let me in. So here was my badge that I wore every single day. It was the 3-day like ultimate fan pass. So what that meant was I had access to the Honda Center as well as the Convention Center every single day. I did have assigned seating on the floor at the Honda Center, which I'll get into that in a bit. And so I was able to just tap every single morning while we were going into the security and it would register my ticket, which is nice. I don't like having to use my phone all of the time for passes and tickets. I know that the Apple Wallet is very convenient, especially when you are flying and traveling. You don't want to carry too many things around, but considering I'm local and going to Anaheim wasn't that far away, I would just rather have something physical. I love the magic bands. I even use them here at Disneyland. I know that that was something exclusively for the Orlando parks, but I like using it here at Disneyland, and it really does save me from having to open up my phone. Sometimes you have to sign back into the app and your battery can get drained. I liked having the physical badge and that this was my way into the convention center. Although I do have to admit that at the Honda Center, this was not my ticket. I did have to download it into my Apple Wallet every single day, which was weird, but I guess it's how it had to be. So they did have to scan my phone at the Honda Center. My 3-day pass was very expensive. A down payment on a car expensive. I know that that is not for everybody. That's not in everybody's budget. It honestly wasn't even in mine, but I did make that executive decision for myself, since it was just me going, to buy the ticket, have that experience, because I'd never had a chance before to go into the big paneled events where they get to share first looks at Disney movies, different TV series that are going to be on Disney Plus soon, and so it was really important to me to be able to say that I at least did it once. Those were the only tickets available when I eventually got through the queue. I made that investment in myself and in Disney, and it guaranteed access to all 3 days. Some of the things that I wish I had done differently, so I guess, should we start with the cons? Let's maybe start with the cons. So I wish that I had scheduled or booked my hotel reservation early. Pricing definitely was higher because of that weekend around the Anaheim resort area, and it just got worse as it got closer to the event, as people were scrambling at the last minute. There were some other places that I looked into, but they were farther away, and because I knew I was going to have to walk back and forth to the convention center, most likely with merchandise, I didn't want to go too far away from the center. I did end up getting a little motel room. It unfortunately was not the cleanest. The frame for one of the art pieces in the room was broken. The carpets were so filthy that I couldn't walk barefoot because my feet would get dirty on the bottom. So that was unfortunate, but that's because I waited until it was much later, closer to the event, and what was within my budget and what was available was not really the best of choices. I would say the first thing you should really invest in, besides the tickets and possibly your transportation, especially if you are traveling from out of town, is make sure you have your hotel reservation set, and hopefully it is clean. Look at those hotel reviews for sure. The second con or disappointing thing of the weekend was the virtual queue system. They did utilize virtual queues for several of the shopping experiences. Obviously, when you have such a huge event, you need to try to make things as organized as possible and fair for everybody, hopefully. And so I can understand why they did the virtual queue. It was just difficult because I was by myself. There was a lot of waiting around. There were some times where like it would take hours just for your group to be summoned to go then line up and wait in the return line to then get into the shop and actually buy merchandise. So it was a very long process. I'm sure it would have been maybe about the same amount of time waiting standby. I did get to go into every single main shop that I wanted to. Walt Disney Studios, Mickey's of Glendale. If I were to describe something else that was disappointing, was my seating arrangement at the Honda Center. Now, I know that I invested in that ticket. I got to be in the Honda Center when multiple announcements were made for the first time, so that was extremely special, which is part of my pros. But the seats, the dang folding chairs that we had to sit in, and each of the nights ran for about 3 hours. And so imagine sitting in a folding chair, the ones that are linked together with the entire row, so you can't even move it to adjust. So you're smushed in between two other adults who paid the same amount as you, maybe even more, and you're sitting there in a folding chair for 3 hours. A lot of the times my arms were like this because there was a man next to me and then a woman on the other side, and I didn't want to invade in her space. So I was like this and trying to hold my phone in the moments that I could record. I did have to purchase the water bottle at the Honda Center, which was frustrating. You couldn't even bring an empty container. For me, especially in the heat, I have to make sure I'm okay to not trigger my migraines. So it was frustrating having to buy a $6 water bottle, like 12-ounce water bottle every single night at the Honda Center. I don't know how they can modify or correct those folding chairs. I'm assuming that based on feedback, they'll either continue with the Honda Center for the next Anaheim convention. Maybe we need to integrate an intermission or something so that people can stand up, stretch. I know my back was killing me. It was nice to sit down from having to stand in line all day, but sitting in a folding chair is not the most comfortable for your body, especially when you're seated for a long period of time. I don't know if anyone who worked that D23 event is ever going to watch this video, but if you happen to, can you maybe consider adding an intermission? I know that means that the presentations might be longer, but I really think it would be helpful because people paid a lot of money to be in that center, and you don't necessarily want to miss important announcements. So maybe just have a quick 15-minute intermission. That might be helpful. I feel like my last frustration or con would be At the Anaheim Convention Center itself, there's not really a lot of places to sit down. And when you're standing in long lines for long periods of time, carrying items, your back hurts, your feet hurt. It was very warm. I had my neck fan on multiple times, and it was just difficult to really find a place to sit in the center with the air conditioning. Some people were literally just sitting on the floor. That's not as clean and magical as I feel like Disney should be. I know that the Anaheim Convention Center is not owned by Disney, it's its own entity, but maybe we needed more resting areas. Like, there were multiple times where I really needed to sit down and there was nowhere to sit down. So that was just a little frustrating, especially when it's hot and you're tired and your body hurts. Those are mostly the complaints that I had. I mean, I don't really want to go into my complaining of the ticket price because I elected to pay for it. No one forced me to. That was my choice. Yes, I got to be in the Honda Center. Yes, I got to be on the floor, which was closer than most people up in the different sections, but paying to sit in an uncomfortable folding chair for 3 hours for 3 nights, I don't know if it was worth that price, if I'm being honest. After the presentations, you'd have to wait for like an hour-ish to get back on the shuttle to go back to the Anaheim Convention Center. Speaking of shuttles, let me get into the pros, or the things that I was really impressed or happy about with this year's event. The shuttles were free, which was such a good choice. Thank you, Disney. Thank you, Anaheim, for distributing those buses, those charter buses, so that it could get everybody from the convention center to the Honda Center for free for those presentations. It did mean you had to cut into your exploration time at the convention, but it was such a convenience not having to Uber or take my personal car, which I didn't have. It was my partner's car for that weekend, and I didn't have to like take the public transit and multiple stops to get there. It was just one way direct round trip, and that was such a huge blessing, so thank you. Second thing, I already mentioned it, I really like the badges. I know that they had it in 2022, but it's just so nice to be able to have this as my ticket into the convention, and I don't have to have so many things on my phone, like in my email that I have to search for, or in my Apple Wallet. The third thing that I really appreciated is just how friendly a lot of the staff were, whether they were exclusively working from the Anaheim Convention Center or if it was Disney cast members. I know a lot of people, they worked long hours and they put in a lot of work to make this a really wonderful experience for us fans. So just having those moments, those interactions, whether it was buying merchandise or scanning my ticket at security in the morning, people wanting you to have a good day and a good experience, it was those moments that were really, really special. Can't remember if I'm on number 4 or not. Anyway, something else that I really liked this year was that they did update the D23 like Expo app, and I liked that it had the maps of the show floor, the second floor, third floor, as well as the directory for all of the different vendors that were there. Especially when you're on your own, it can be overwhelming to try to figure out where you're going, if you have like a reservation for any of the panels where you're supposed to line up. So it was super convenient to have all of the information that you would need in that one application. So thank you to the team, the individuals, the person who helped bring that app to fruition so that it would have the most useful, relevant information for us to use. In my last video, there was the pin debacle. I was able to go back and get that pin that I was not given. So here's the pin. It's pretty much the same image that they used for the event this year. I had to go with Mickey, of course. Overall, it was a good experience. I don't know if it was better than the first expo I went to, but I feel like that one's gonna be an outlier for me just because it was the first time ever, and that's gonna be so special because I had no idea what to expect. This year I did have high expectations, but I'm very thankful that I did get to go. Would I go again? Yes. Would I pay the same amount that I did this year? No, unless it included better accommodations. So if I got my hotel reservations quick enough, I would probably make that investment, and also if it was closer to the center, because I did do a lot of walking. There were just a few other little things that I wanted to share that I got. At the Imagineering booth, I got a couple of stickers. They look like cast member name tags. It says Future Imagineer. And then here are the cards that I got from night 2, I believe, at the Honda Center. It's for David Blaine. I believe that's his name, David Blaine, the magician. So these are exclusively for D23. I don't think you can get them anywhere else, which is cool. That card trick was insane. I didn't record it, unfortunately, but if you Google it, if you search on YouTube for the David Blaine card trick at D23, there are some videos that show like the whole trick, and it was great. I haven't even opened these yet. These are trading cards from Disney Hits. Let's actually open them and see. It says 2nd edition. So we have Wish, I'm a Star. Gonna get closer. And Turning Red, You Know What's Up. And Encanto, We Don't Talk About Bruno. Here's my TVA badge. Here is a badge that I got from the TVA experience. Another thing that I really like about the expo is sometimes you just get free stuff. I mean, considering how much we all spent that weekend, I don't even want to imagine, but it's a lot. It's nice to get little freebies, and stuff like this was just given for free, so thank you. This one, I think I already showed it. It's the pin that I got for being a D23 Gold member. Is this a button? No, it's a keychain. It's from Visa. It's got Minnie and Mickey, little keychain. Here are my bracelets. They gave us one each night at the Honda Center. So of course I was going to collect them, and I wore them all on the last night. I may or may not make a shadow box like I did for the Eras tour, and maybe I'll put those in there. Speaking of the shadow box, I do still have the bracelets that I didn't give all of them away. I wore some of them, but I didn't give them all away to people. So maybe these will go in the shadow box. It's confetti from the Honda Center. This one is shaped like Mickey. We went big. I'm always going to be a huge Disney fan. Maybe I will be invited by Disney to attend one of these events. Thank you so much for watching and following along. If you got a chance to see all of my videos from the expo, tell me what was your favorite thing that you saw, or what's something that maybe you wish you could have seen, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.